Pat's Cafe and Catering has been proudly serving customers in Lawrenceburg since 1987. For 4 generations, our family-run cafe has served up delicious breakfast and lunch favorites, with friendly service and a welcoming atmosphere. We also offer full-service catering and can help to make your next party or event a success. For great food and friendly faces, visit us today at Pat's Cafe and Catering.
Working with Gina was great because she really knows this area. I gave her the specifications of what I was looking for, and she took me right to my forever home.
I met Gina when she sold my son's home within 5 days after it hit the market. With my home, from the day the sign hit the yard to the day we signed the papers, Gina was there every step of the way. Her involvement in the sale of my home was the best decision that I made.
We never felt like Gina was pushing us to make a deal with a buyer. She knew what we wanted, and she worked diligently to get us the best offer for our properties.
Working hard for my clients to make their dreams come true. Let me work for you.
The storm doesn't ask. It takes. It tests. It pushes everything to its limit. Some things are built different. Some things are built to last. Tested by the elements. Proven by time. Engineered for whatever comes next. Summertown Metals. Strength in every storm. Building dreams that last.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome everybody here to X Sports Today. Oh, camera. X Sports Today. AJ Good joined by Taylor Plott, Bryant, Gobble, and Michael Marks. I don't know why I thought the camera was over there. It's been a while.
I would say it's been a couple weeks.
It's been a couple weeks. So we're here. The Christmas tree is up. Brian has done a great job fluffing that thing to new heights. I was just going to fluff it out and just let it go. But Bryant's really been working on it. So we're getting in the Christmas spirit around here. It's a season of giving, and it's also the season where college football kind of comes to an end, unfortunately. And guys, we had a lot go on this past week, and we're figuring out who is who. We got our championship games lined up, some teams in the college football playoff already, but the big news around everywhere is what happened in Oxford, what happened in Baton Rouge, and that's just got everyone's attention right now.
Boy, I mean, that had been a mess. Well, we had heard that initially the whole thing was that Lane was going to have to make the decision prior to the game. And then it came out that it was going to be after the game. And then we didn't really get a confirmed word until Sunday morning. I hope Marty Smith actually gets to go home. It seems like he spent his entire weekend
that was so
in the Ole Miss training facility. But listen, I think Lane probably made the best decision for himself, and I take the emotion out of it because I think he really did want to coach that team the rest of the way through the playoff and then take the LSU job. But obviously Keith Carter, the athletic director, knows that Lane has a history of bringing coaches with him, bringing transfers, recruits, players like that, and don't think he wanted to give him more time with the team to try to make a call like that.
It was just an ongoing soap opera with really the whole college football landscape, but obviously Lane Kiffin brings his own specific episodes into the soap opera, and this was another episode of Lane Kiffin and his drama-filled life. I think it's so comical that he had the E60 or the little documentary that was released a few months ago.
I just watched it on Sunday. It's crazy going.
Yeah, so I guess you can kind of give it. I didn't really watch it. I've just seen some clips. You can kind of give us some insight on does anything that happened or that was said in the E60 kind of contradict what happened and what played out over this past weekend.
I think the biggest argument in that thing, in that E60, was the argument he made to Ryan McGee that he's changed. He wants to settle down. He wants to be a family man. And then 4 weeks later, this happens.
Yeah, his thing is like, I let certain things get to me now that I didn't care what people thought. I'm like, no, you certainly didn't care what people thought. You didn't care what your players thought. You didn't care what your people, inside your own locker room thought. I've read a lot of things from former staffers about him that have not been quiet on social media. Former players, obviously, he said the players wanted him to coach. From what we've been reading, that was not the case.
It looks like that he was invited into a room with his leadership committee, and they told him to leave.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And that didn't go over well. So, there was the whole controversy with the On3 guy quoting a 3-6 Mafia song, "Can't turn a you-know-what into a housewife." And then he proves even though I would not have used that expression, he's proven every single bit of that true. Because what do those type of people do? They come in, it's not enough. They wreck things, they burn things down, and they want to make it into chaos in the process. And Lane is just not a commitment guy.
It's not enough for Lane to just accept the job and kind of try to leave things as peacefully as he can. Like, there is a wake of damage in his path. I forgot what the reporter's name was that told that to him, but he kind of looked like the idiot whenever Lane got up in his face. But surely he's felt a sense of vindication since that moment happened, because now everybody. Except the only people that like Lane right now is LSU fans, and they are just happy because he's there and they have the prized possession of Lane Kiffin. But now, Ole Miss fans hate him, Tennessee fans have reignited their hatred for him. Everybody is just, man, it's hard to get as many people against one guy as Lane has, but he has brought the whole world against him, and I think it's rightfully earned. I don't think it's misplaced. I get it. He's doing what he thinks is best for him, but it just feels like with the comments, the interviews, him tweeting from his dog's social media account, all of this has just brought extra weight that did not need to be there to begin with. All of it has just been extra noise and extra nonsense that he's brought on himself. So it would be easy enough for him to just be like, you know what, I'm going to step out. I'll step out of the way. I get it, but he's drugged us on so much, and it's been just a soap opera, just a drama-filled soap opera.
The thing that, the comment that On3 guy made, and it's like, okay, you can cross see, line. Cross line, but you can understand the background with it. The thing with Lane is he loves the drama. He loves to fuel the drama. He loves to create drama out of stuff that doesn't even have drama. He is the main drama queen of college football. And he's been at LSU he's been at Ole Miss for so long. Was it 6 seasons now? He's been there for 6 seasons. And I do think part of him has changed. I do think that he has kind of somewhat quieted down from a lot of the stuff that happened pre-Ole Miss, but there's still a lot of stuff that remains, especially with the drama going on. The thing that I just want to know, which I guarantee we probably won't ever know about, is I truly think that he did have a conversation with his family. He obviously has an ex-wife that, from what has been told, they've tried to rekindle things. They've tried to get back into their good graces. I don't know what came from that, because I know that they sent 2 planes and they went to go check out Baton Rouge, and I think the other one was in Gainesville. Yeah. And they checked out both places. And so from everything that seemed like what was going on behind the closed doors that we at least knew about, seemed like he was going through a thoughtful, thorough process on what would be better for me, what would be better for my family. And that honestly could be the case, but it was just drama-filled because it's Lane Kiffin who we're dealing with. I am really curious to know what happened behind the closed doors at the Ole Miss facility, because I want to know if what Lane Kiffin approached the AD and the president or whoever was in that room. Was it a Lane Kiffin that was the drama queen, or was it a Lane Kiffin that actually wanted to stay and do what he said he was wanting to do, finish the season out and then leave, and then when he was told no and everything, he then got his butt hurt and he started kind of throwing a temper tantrum and all that stuff, and now here we are. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, Lane's still Lane. I do think that he's changed somewhat, but there's still a lot of stuff that is still there that he is showing, which is the drama side and tweeting from his dog's account and everything. It kind of, I think, shows that. But I think at the end of the day, I truly think that he felt like he did what he needed to do. I think LSU can give him more money than Ole Miss ever could, and he took it.
Well, I look at it from like Lane's point of view. Personally, right now, I think he's probably a top 5 coach in the country, and now he's at a top 5 to top 10 job in the country. I don't think Ole Miss was that, and now he is set up at LSU, which is a very good destination and a recruiting hotbed where he's going to get $25 million at least a year for NIL, and has a really good offensive-minded offensive coordinator, Charlie Weiss, that he's brought with him, and then LSU able to retain Blake Baker, their defensive coordinator. I mean, maybe not this year, but I mean next year, watch out for LSU.
Yeah,
I'm just curious if he has any self-awareness with the
yeah.
Like, does he have any self-awareness with what he's done? Is he like, okay, yes, I can see how people are upset with me, or is he just a little spiteful, like leaving Ole Miss? Is he a little spiteful with the athletic director at Ole Miss? Is he saying, why didn't you let me coach my kids? Or does he understand, it's like, you know what, I am committing to another program. It's understandable why you're kicking me out the door and you don't want me to finish out this college football playoff run. Like, I get both sides, I guess. I get Ole Miss being like, hey, we could compete for a national championship this year, and you're stepping out on us. Like, we are potentially hosting a home playoff game for the first time ever in the school's existence, and you're leaving. And I'll also get Lane Kiffin saying, you know what, $90 million over 7 years to coach at LSU, which theoretically has a higher ceiling than Ole Miss. I go take that. I get both sides, but I am curious. Does Kiffin have any self-awareness of what he's done and the wake that is that's already spreading throughout college football? Like, everything is affected by this one decision.
And the one thing I've seen the most since his hiring at LSU is the fact that LSU has to go to Oxford and to Knoxville next year. Golf balls, beware.
That's
the whole coaching the team thing just boggles my mind.
It does me
he
too.
Thought that they were going to allow him.
Yeah,
like your administration doesn't want it. Your team doesn't want
right.
it. Mm-hmm. And you know, some people laugh at he's not going to take their players. I'm like, have you? Anytime a coach goes from one place to another in today's day and age, he takes at least 10 guys with him. I mean, shoot, Rich Rodriguez took 10 guys from Jacksonville State to West Virginia. That's everywhere. You think he's not going to do that? Now he's got a month. If he stays a month, he might take a quarter of the team with him.
And that's where I feel like that there could be on the point that you made, where maybe there's like a little spite there, where maybe he truly thought that he could go in to that meeting, say, hey, I'm taking this LSU job, but I really want to finish the season out because this is my team. I feel like I owe it to you, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, if he said that or whatnot. And then if they turn around and said no, because in his mind he's thinking, okay, I can finish out the season, then therefore I can take some of these coaches, maybe then I can take some of these players. If he's trying to go at that aspect, and then he gets shut down, I could understand why he would be in a pissy mood over it.
Yeah.
I think it has been said the best. It got repeated on SportsCenter last night with Scott Van Pelt, but it's been said all over social media that this is like a married couple getting a divorce, like the dad is leaving for a mistress, right? And the dad's like, well, can I stay in the house through Christmas just to get by, just so we can, have Christmas for the kids and make everything right? And the mom's like, no, get that crap out of my
That's a perfect analogy.
Get out of here.
I think that's a pretty good analogy.
That's pretty good.
I mean, gosh.
But also, Tulane is allowing John Summerall to coach their conference championship game this weekend, and then I'm not sure how it would go, getting to the playoffs, but they're allowing him to finish the season. So I can see why Lane has a bit of an argument there, but with his track record, there's no way you can let him do
that's the thing. Look at Summerall's track record. Yeah. I mean, he seems like he's a pretty down to earth guy, and if Tulane knows that this is a step up in his career, So, yeah, I can understand why they would honor his if he wants to finish the season out. But on the other end, you've got Lane Kiffin, which you're right. He's got a track record.
And the big thing with Summerall, and I read the article, the word that I read the most was the word trust. It was the fact how much trust they have between them. I don't know if Lane Kiffin has anybody's trust right now.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. I guess he's got the athletic director and the governor of Louisiana's trust for them to pay.
Yeah, really.
So that's a lucrative contract for them. After they just cut ties with Brian Kelly, they learned nothing. They learned nothing from that.
What if in 3 years they're we look at middle of October and they're 5-3.
It could be the same situation with Brian Kelly. Like Brian
Get rid of
Kelly
him, pay
did
him
great
$60 million
at
and
Notre Dame, and he was brought in LSU because he's like, well, we can reach heights at LSU that we couldn't reach at Notre Dame. This is the exact same scenario in a lot of ways, and it could blow up in his face. It could blow up in LSU's face. Did y'all see that LSU's potentially paying 3 different buyouts right now?
Yeah.
Orgeron, Kelly, and or not buyouts, but 3 different coaches, 2 different buyouts, and then their new head coach. They're paying for Orgeron, they're paying for Brian Kelly, and now they're about to be cutting checks to Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
Like, good grief.
Well, you make a good point. So go and look back at what Lane Kiffin has done in Ole Miss. Obviously, it's Ole Miss, so what he has done has been historical for them. This is one of the best runs that they've been on as a program. But how many SEC championships has he won? How many SEC championships has he gone to? How many playoffs has he gone to?
Somebody's going to wake up and realize Lane Kiffin ain't ever won a dang freaking thing
Exactly.
of significance. He hasn't.
He's 4-4 in bowls.
Yeah, he hasn't.
He hasn't done anything over the top yet, but you look at the quality of coaches left in college football right now. I mean, there's no more Nick Saban. There's not guys like that. I mean, behind, I guess, Ryan Day and
he's locked up there, though.
Ryan Day and Kirby Smart, is Lane the next best guy?
Well, going off of what Brian Kelly was an outsider coming into the SEC. He had never competed in the SEC before. And the only thing that Lane Kiffin has over him is that fact that he's been in the SEC for 6 seasons. He's competed. He knows, yes, how to win these games, but some of the games, they just don't win. I mean, I could see where this is going to end up being another Brian Kelly. I mean, yeah, I hope that he succeeds. I hope that he continues to have these good teams.
Kelly at least made it to a national championship.
He did. He made it to a national championship, but
and 2 more playoffs before he went to LSU.
Yeah.
But you are going with a coach that has never been in the playoffs, has never competed for a conference championship game. You're just going
at a head
off
coaching level. At a
head coaching level, yes, for sure. At a head coaching level. And the only thing you have going for him is he's coaching the SEC.
Yep.
So who's to say that 5 years from now he's getting the Brian Kelly treatment and he's getting his butt kicked out of Baton Rouge?
Yep.
Well, he either leaves or gets fired. That's what we've seen from him as
that's
of late.
true.
But the coaching carousel did not wait for anything else. Alex Golesh is at Auburn. John Summerall's going to Florida. I love Oklahoma State's hire.
That was
North
awesome.
Texas. I mean, they're the first one right out the gate. Arkansas's with Ryan Silverfield. It's okay. Yeah. They would have been better with Golesh. From what I am hearing, Auburn offered 7.5 when Arkansas was only offering 7. I'm like, you guys couldn't
nudge
bump
up
$500,000.
I mean, you got Tyson and Walmart. I mean, what else do you need? And then UCLA hires Bob Chesney this morning. I think that was a great hire for them. I mean, you get a proven winner. I mean, a different coast, but I think it might be a pretty good fit. Chesney's won everywhere he's been.
I'm excited for the Alex Golesh hire. A couple of my Auburn friends are not too excited. Maybe it's just my Tennessee bias in here, but Auburn needs to be stabilized as a program. They need a coach that can come in, that can inject some excitement into the program, and what better way to inject excitement than to score points, just get offensive production, right? Offense sells tickets, the old saying.
Right.
Alex Golesh he's shown at USF and as a coordinator at Tennessee that he can score points. So bring him in, score some points, win some games. Is he going to win a national championship or compete for an SEC championship? Yet to be seen, probably not. But they need somebody that can go 8-4, 9-3, stabilize the program, compete with Alabama. Something that Alex Golesh has proven that he can do. He beat them in 2022 as offensive coordinator. He gave them a run for their money with UCF. Like, he was competitive. He played them the past couple of years and was competitive in those games as a head coach at USF. And I think is a good hire. They weren't going to get a Lane Kiffin. They weren't going to get some big name. They needed an up-and-comer that's going to stabilize the program, and I think Auburn got that in Alex Golish.
I think they did. The thing that I hope, because I would like to see Auburn succeed, because it's good for the state, it's good for the SEC. I hope that every SEC team is a solid SEC team, and week in and week out you're playing top-notch competition. This, I think, is a good hire. The thing that I want to see happen, which I feel like he's probably the best candidate out there to do, is guess what Russians are kind of known for? They aren't pushovers. They come with a little fire. They come with, they know what to do, they know how to do it, and they're going to do it. And that's what Auburn needs, because over the past handful of times, you've seen that a lot of people have too many hands in the pot down there. So I hope that he's the one that can say, get your hand out of the pot, let me do what I need to do, and I'm going to make this program successful. I hope that they're able to do that, because if they are, I really think that this is probably outside of Gus Malzahn, I feel like this is probably the best coach that they could have right now.
Yeah.
And he's been proven to be able to develop quarterbacks. He's been proven to have an offense that can score points. He has kind of turned that USF program around. I think the last 3 seasons it was 7-5, and I think this was 9-3 or something.
Yeah.
So he has a proven track record. But if they can hand them the keys to the car and say go drive, I think they'll be good.
That's the biggest thing. If they kind of, like you said, take their hands out of the pot and let him, build a team, build a coaching staff around him, I think he could get Auburn back to where they need to be. But I also look at it that it was a guy that was struggling at USF in the American. Now he got them back up this year, but I don't know if this is the hire Auburn wants, because I think they want somebody that can win immediately, and I'm not sure if they're going to be.
Who else is there, though?
That's the thing. I don't know who else there is.
And that's exactly it. I think they were in the sweepstakes that they wanted Lane Kiffin as well. It's just I don't think they were.
They aren't able to have the money.
You're not going to. If you're Auburn, you're not in a financial position to where you want to pony up what LSU just did.
And that's why I think that Golish probably was
contract offer that they just offered.
The better hire that you could have made, because you're not going to have to pay him a lot of money. And his defenses haven't been great, but I think that with the talent that Auburn has offensively, if they can keep Cam Coleman from transferring, I think
which is what you want out of Alex Golish, like an offensive guy to keep your offensive talent there and to keep your recruiting class that is pretty good.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they have a pretty good recruiting class. They signed a good one last year. Keep that talent there, especially the offensive talent. I think Alex Golish appeals to that more than Summerall out of Tulane.
Yeah.
I guess there's an argument to be made that Summerall was the better hire. You could go, if you took my Tennessee bias away from knowing Alex Golish as a guy who helped turn Tennessee around, if you took that bias away, then I guess I would probably lean John Summerall. I don't really know too much about him, but
he got handed a pretty good situation.
Did he?
Really, Fritz handed him a really good situation. It's almost like App State, where one guy handed it to the other guy. Now both guys are doing well.
Yeah,
and that was the thing, because
Satterfield and Drinkowitz.
Yeah. So other than John Summerall and Alex Golish, I don't know who else you could have hired. No. There wasn't any big names out there. So I think this was great for Auburn. I think it was about as good as they could do.
Yeah. Well, the Summerall stuff, I got family friends that are good friends with him. He hates Auburn. That was never going to happen. I think that they reached out to him, and he shut that down very quickly. The thing that is interesting, Michael brought up a good point. I feel like Auburn wants to win, and they want to win now. It could happen. It easily could. But honestly, I think what's better for their program in the long run is to have him where he's not necessarily going to be a bull in a china shop, but he's going to be a bull, and he's going to stand his ground and make sure that, no, this is my team. This is not you're on the field doing this. If you want me to do this right, you got to give me the keys to do it. And I feel like he's the type of guy with the personality that is going to do that. That's not going to be a pushover. I think that Freeze was a bit of a pushover with that, and hearing some of the stuff with Harsin, he was also kind of like that. So I think that, who knows, they could win right off the bat. It would be good if they did, but I at least think that this is something that will be good for the program in general, that maybe they could hit the reset button and have a good future.
Yeah, because looking at their schedule next year, I think they're one of those teams that's got a tough one. They got to play Vanderbilt next year, and I think Vandy will probably still be good. Alabama, Georgia, Florida, LSU. I mean, they've got a tough schedule on for next year, so Goalish will get a chance to prove it pretty soon.
Yep.
Yeah, and but now we got another Power 4 job opening. Michigan State, and now Kentucky are about to be open, guys. And I've said it a lot. This is probably the worst year to fire your coach, but people are finding people, and we're pretty sure that Mark Stoops wore out his welcome there at Kentucky. Yeah. Also, Jonathan Smith at Michigan State was just not working right now.
That seemed like a weird fit initially. You know, when it happened, I think he had something good going on there at Oregon State, and obviously now both of those schools in a bit of a bad spot. But I think Pat Fitzgerald was a great hire for Michigan State. Obviously, he was at Northwestern. You have all the controversy and stuff, but he had a decent record overall as a head coach at Northwestern. I think that proves that he can win in the Big Ten at a place that's tough to win in the Big Ten. You know, we haven't seen Michigan State really. You know, they had the decent COVID year and the year after that under Mel Tucker, but really it's been 10 or 15 years since we've seen Michigan State be a contender. I think Fitzgerald could be the guy that gets them there.
It's not official that they hired Fitzgerald yet, though.
I'm not sure if it's 100%.
I think it's just been rumored that he's there. That would be a good hire for him. But is it done yet?
I don't know if that was actually a done deal yet.
I don't think it's a done deal from what I can tell, but good for them.
Well, it says hired, but I don't know if that's actually true or not. But
everything that I see just from a quick Google search says
eyeing him.
It says, they're eyeing him, expected to hire, all that. So, Michigan State, I don't know, they're kind of you think of Michigan State, good basketball, surely good football, and they haven't really been good. So I would like to see them rise back and cycle back and have a good team. Kentucky, they should have got rid of Mark Stoops a while ago. How silly does Texas A&M feel for flirting with Mark Stoops a couple of years ago? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
they were ready to hire him, and now he's fired and taking $30-something million buyout. I don't think he'll get hired. I don't know. Maybe he does.
I don't know. I feel like, though, he proved that you can still win at Kentucky, because he did have 2, 3, maybe 4 solid years, and
he was there for a long time.
He definitely proved
13 seasons.
He definitely proved that you give it some time, you can win at Kentucky, and he did. He proved that. So I mean, but at this point, who are you going to get? I had one of the best comments about this was in one of our.
He had 2 10-win seasons, 2018 and 2021.
Yep.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was like 5 wins, 7 wins, 5 wins, 7 wins. Yeah.
But you look at how bad Kentucky was when he got there.
Right.
I think
his first season was 2-10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And best seasons, he had 2 10-win seasons, 1 8-win season. So out of the, how many did we say? 13 years that he was there, he had 3 solid seasons. The rest of it was like a 7, 6, 5 win season.
Yeah. One of the best things I saw, this actually late last night that was texted in our chat. It's actually a post on X. Just said Kentucky showed up drunk to the bar 5 minutes before last call.
Yep. They did.
That's right about what happened.
Well, I think Sumrall was the guy that wanted that job. Obviously, he played at Kentucky, coached there for a little bit. I think he was the guy that wanted a job, but felt like he couldn't pass up an opportunity with Florida, someone like Florida, if that Kentucky job wasn't going to open, and it didn't open until yesterday afternoon.
Exactly.
Summerall at Kentucky, I don't think would have worked out. I don't think that would have been a play. Like he might have had a desire to go home and have the warm fuzzies being accepted back home, but I don't think that would have worked out for him at all. Kentucky's just so limited when it comes to resources and money and fighting the battle. Who's more important, basketball or football? Like that was a battle that Mark Stoops fought consistently. Like you'd see the quotes like, "We basketball school, we football school," and him and John Calipari got at it a little bit. I don't know if him and Mark Pope had better relationship or not, but Kentucky's just. I don't know. I never thought Vanderbilt would be good at football, so maybe Kentucky will eventually cycle up and be good at football. Speaking of Vanderbilt, Clark Lee signed a 6-year extension. I don't know how much he's getting paid a year, but
it's definitely a bit of an increase. But that was huge getting him to come back, because I felt like with him being at Vanderbilt, being a Nashville and a Vandy guy, he would have stuck around. But when you got some schools calling, offering you money that Vanderbilt can't match, and a program that is traditionally good, it's tough to pass it up. And you know, him but Eli Drinkwitz, I thought were both going to get different head coaching jobs this year, and they're both staying put.
I was kind of hoping that he would get hired away, just to kind of rub it in Vanderbilt's face. Yeah, you think you're good, but you're not good enough to retain a coach.
Yeah.
But Vanderbilt had a great weekend. Yeah, sign your coach. You have the best season ever, and you stomp your rival in their place. Like, that doesn't happen ever for Vanderbilt, and it happened this past weekend. So good for the Commodores.
Also, UCLA looks like their next head coach is going to be James Madison's Bob Chesney. So, hey, you had some success with Indiana had success with getting their boy out of JMU. So everyone's just poaching these Sunbelt coaches.
Yeah,
I mean, there's something about JMU, App State. You go in there, you get them, they turn you into something. So we'll see what happens there. But guys, let's get into it. Let's just quickly look at the slate coming up. Friday night, we've got Conference USA, the Sun Belt, the American, and Mountain West. So Tulane, maybe the only one up there fighting for one of those for the Group of 5 spot. But North Texas is 11-1. They win that. I guess it's between them and James Madison.
None of those teams that you just mentioned have a head coach.
Yeah, really.
Isn't that crazy?
James Madison technically still does.
Yeah, and Tulane's will be coaching through the end of the season. I don't know about North Texas, but things are getting really interesting right now because of what's going on in the ACC. Because Duke in the conference championship at 7-5. If they win that, the ACC is not getting a team in, and it's going to be James Madison if they win, and obviously the winner of the American.
Duke will be the only team in. Yeah.
I can't believe they got in.
Well, I don't. So, all right.
It's so crazy.
We've been talking about it for 5 or 6
years.
We have been
Duke. One in Duke.
Yeah, and they've gotten there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Everyone at the top of the ACC the last couple of weeks just started falling. And Duke it seemed like they only lost out of conference teams. I mean, they fared well in the ACC.
This is where I hope that when Tuesday night comes around, tomorrow night, and we get the last regular season college football playoff rankings, I want someone to explain to me how this process is going to work, because from everything that I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong if y'all have heard something else, but everything that I've heard has said that it is the top 5 conference champions or highest ranked or top, and then it's the highest.
But the bye, it's just the top 4.
Well, no, not the bye, but
the
it's like the top. You get the top 4 ranked conference champions or 5, whatever it is, with the group of 5 there. And if that's the case, now I know that the top 4 buys are not there. It's just who is 1 through 4 at that point. But to get that so-called auto bid, so then what happens if Duke wins? Because they're not ranked right now. They're 7-5. If they end the season 8-5, do they creep in? How are they going to play that? If it truly is just the auto bids
they have to be the 12th.
Yeah,
that's the way Clemson was last year.
Right, but see, so that 12th spot is supposed to be that so-called group of 5 team or highest ranked group of 5 team. So they don't necessarily have to be number 12. They could be number 25. But if they're the group of 5 team that is the highest ranked, they get that spot. But if you have an ACC champion that comes in at 8-5 and is ranked, say they have to creep them into the top 25. So let's say Duke comes in at like 24 or something like that. Do they get a spot? Or is it the group of 5 gets that one spot, and then now it's just a at-large bid that gets another spot, to where a potential Texas, or if Alabama falters in the SEC championship, maybe they stay in. I want someone to explain that to me as plain as day, because from what I have heard, it feels like that there could be a situation where Duke wins the ACC championship game and they don't get into the college football playoff.
So it is the 12 participating teams will be the 5 conference champion ranked highest by the College Football Selection Committee, plus the next 7 highest ranked schools. So if JMU and let's say Tulane both win their conference championships, I think that they'll be ranked above Duke, and you're going to have a JMU or a Tulane, and both of them will make the playoff over any ACC team.
So you could theoretically have ACC champions automatically in, Big Ten's in, Big 12 is in, and what am I missing?
SEC.
I said SEC. So that's what I'm getting at. So then you have say Tulane's in there because they're highest ranked. Say they went out and they get that bid. So who is going to be that 5 because it's his highest ranked?
It determines on what they decide Tuesday because up to this point they've only had one group of 5 team ranked each week. Now if you look at the AP poll, really 19 to 25 are mostly group of 5 teams. Maybe they throw another 2 in. Maybe they throw North Texas and James Madison in there and really make this last week that much more important.
This is where I just wish that it is strictly you win your conference championship, you're in. Because I would much rather be able to say, all right, Duke, you've gotten to the ACC championship game now. Yeah, you're 7-5, but you win this, you get the auto bid. Fine, you get the auto bid, and then you've got whatever remaining at large bids and let them fall where they may. Because that just, to me, that creeps in a huge wild card to where you have a couple of SEC teams who are by far better than Duke, and they might get pushed out if somehow, some way Duke wins the ACC and then they end up creeping into the college football playoff with 5 losses.
Yeah, I mean we've never seen. I'm glad that we're having this scenario happen early enough into this 12-team playoff cycle that they maybe can sort of figure this thing out. But I think tomorrow night's very important when it comes to this last spot because are they going to rank another group of 5 team or are they going to give a 7-5 Duke team a number by their name?
So you're telling me Duke could win the ACC championship, be left out, and like Tulane and JMU could be put.
It's the 5 highest ranked conference champions, and if they're ranked above Duke, then Duke's out. Yes, you get a Conference USA and or Sun Belt and a American.
Yeah. So Tulane. So hang on. So Tulane and JMU different conferences, right?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, if JMU ends up being ranked 20th and Tulane's ranked 21st, and they both win.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Duke comes in at 25 or still unranked, and they won. Then they would be left out.
The problem with James Madison right now is Tulane's 10-2. They're 24th right now. Again, the other rankings come out tomorrow night. That will kind of some teams are going to be out. Tennessee's going to be one of them, unfortunately. Good. And
I'm so good. We didn't even talk about my disappointment, disgust with the program.
I was trying
but
we'll get there after the break.
That's
we'll
fine.
get there after the break.
That's fine.
We'll save the NFL for tomorrow because there's just too much. We haven't even gotten into the games.
Yeah.
But the bad part for James Madison, if North Texas beats Tulane, well, North Texas is 12-1, and you look at their resume of teams that they've beaten. Their only loss.
It was like a 20.
It was a bad loss.
I think it was a 26-point loss to
South Florida. 63-36, but they beat Navy. If they beat Tulane, they'll have a win against Tulane. They smoked Washington State, which, by the way, Virginia and Ole Miss both struggle with, and they beat them 59-10.
And James Madison has a win over them as well.
Yeah. So,
boy, Washington State scheduled a gauntlet unintentionally this year.
What happens when you only have 2 teams in your conference, and you got to play the other team twice?
Yeah. So you got to find 10 games instead of 4.
And they split.
Split.
So there's co-champions.
They split, and if Army can, there's some good wins on this slate. But if you pick up the one against Tulane, you're 12-1. Even if James Madison's 12-1, because you're only beating 8-4. Troy, who has been really, really good. That's a struggle. But I feel bad for them in that aspect.
Drove by James Madison's field this weekend.
Awesome.
It was
you can see it straight from the interstate.
Yes, you can. It's there in all its glory. I was like, wow, I didn't know that was going to be right there.
And also one of the greatest men's rooms in college football, opposite side. If you got to go number 2,
that's right.
You told us about that.
There's a window right on the field. It's
great.
It's pretty nice. Also, Missouri State. You go to the urinals on one side of the end zone. You can see it. It's they've thought of everything.
That's creative.
Group of 5 has got it going. Well, guys, coming up next, we will get into the games that happen this weekend. So that will be next year on X Sports Today.
Welcome to the newly remodeled Brass Lantern. For over 30 years, we've been serving delicious food to excellent people. Brass Lantern takes pride in authenticity, serving fresh, homemade food to please any member of the family. From mouth-watering to one-of-a-kind steaks served with gourmet marinade, to salad with our signature honey mustard dressing, specialty fruit tea, drafts, and much more. Our food is always prepared daily. Whether you come in with friends or family, you'll appreciate that fresh is better.
A&M Medical is Lawrence County's newest medical clinic, specializing in urgent and primary care. Practitioners Andrea Bain and Meredith Hutton bring years of experience and compassion to keep you and your family healthy. A&M Medical features a separate well waiting room to meet your needs. Visit today and ask about A&M's weight loss program and telemedicine services. That's A&M Medical, located at 2367 Highway 43 South in Leoma, Tennessee. Since 1955, Evers Construction has been the company folks have trusted for residential and commercial construction projects. Today, Evers is still the leader in building and is just as committed to maintaining. From residential to commercial and industrial, Evers' team of experts stands ready to install, service, and repair all your HVAC and plumbing needs. Specializing in leak repair, maintenance, air duct cleaning and repair, air handler service, drain cleaning, gas line work, emergency unit repair, inspections, and more. Evers Construction offers a preventative maintenance package to keep your home or business cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Trained, trusted, reliable. For more information or to schedule an appointment with the pros who know, phone 931-762-3593 or visit eversconstructionco.com. Evers Construction Company in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome everybody back to X Sports Today. We were just listening to a funny, poor Marty Smith.
He's been through so much.
Got caught up in that whole Lane Kiffin
he had a heck of a weekend.
Whole weekend. But let's get into this past weekend's games, guys. And we'll start off first with the Tennessee guys. Floor is yours. Just have it out. Just have a good talk.
We actually kind of have a little two different opinions on this.
Okay.
I'm not scorched earth like a lot of Tennessee fans are. They want everybody fired. They want Heupel gone. This, that, and the other. Listen, it was 21-21 at halftime, and Tennessee had a 2-0 advantage in the turnover battle. Yeah. That told you everything you needed to know about the second half because Pavia wasn't going to come out and turn the ball over, and Tennessee had gotten 2 extra possessions and was still even with them. I knew that second half was probably going to go rough. And really, since that Oklahoma game, Tennessee's offense just hadn't felt the same. Yeah. And it looked like it had just kind of ran its course. And listen, you got a quarterback in June and you went 8-4 in the SEC. I say you just kind of lick your wounds and go on to next year because I think it realistically 8-4 was probably right at or maybe slightly above expectations for everybody outside of Tennessee.
Here comes the opposite side.
I agree with some sports personalities in Knoxville. They say that your expectations can be fluid. Mm-hmm. Like they can change whenever you're rolling. Where did we start off? 4-0? What were we 4-0?
I think 4-1, 5-1,
whatever
like that.
Well, your expectations need to change. Then you're like, oh wow, we have a quarterback that has a pulse. We have a good offense, like good wide receivers. Like, there's no reason why we can't beat Georgia, why we can't be competitive with Alabama, why we shouldn't be able to handle the rest of our business and take care of Oklahoma and Vanderbilt. Like, those games should have been taken care of. I don't care what happened back in June. There was no reason that Tennessee should have lost that game. There's no reason that you come out and only score 3 points in the second half. I am sick and tired of an offensive-minded coach who can't score points anymore. Like, 2022 was awesome. Dream season for me because I grew up with absolute dog crap. And 2022, you beat LSU, you beat Alabama, you beat Florida. Mm-hmm. You beat LSU, Clemson.
Yeah,
You beat Clemson in the bowl game. Like, that is an awesome season. Great. 23, 24, and now 25. You've had nothing really to hang your hat on. You've had just subpar experiences compared to where the expectations were. And so I'm not calling for Heupel to be fired, because at the end of the day, he still has done things every year that hasn't been done in the previous 20. Beating Alabama, beating Florida at home, making a college football playoff. Like, all those things are great. But now it's like, okay, those are the expectations that you have set for yourself. Yeah. Now, how are you going to work to continue those expectations and exceed those expectations? So, yes, Heupel's done a good job. We can congratulate him. We can shake his hand. We can pat him on the back. We're not building a statue for him, but he can be commemorated as a great coach at Tennessee. But now, like, what are you going to do now? Because you flatlined, and now you're going a little bit downhill.
This offseason is a crossroads, and if they make the right moves, then maybe they'll take that step up. But if they don't, it's going nowhere but down. Because I agree with you that there is a lot of stuff that needs to change this offseason. I think that first things first, Josh Heupel has to give up play calling.
Yes, I agree.
There are too many times, you've seen it, you've probably seen it as well, where there's a moment where Tennessee can put together a drive right before half and they run out of time, or they don't use their timeout, stuff like that. Well, that's because the head coach is trying to map out an entire series in his head on the fly with 45 seconds to go. He's got to give up play calling. I don't know if that's because he doesn't trust his offensive coordinator, what that is, but he's got to do that. I think there's going to be an overhaul needs to be done to the defensive staff, because there's never been a year, at least while Heupel's been here, that the offense and defense have been on the same page. It's been one carrying the other every year. Yeah. You need to find a little consistency there. If you can do that and get your program to worry more about the players on the field instead of the fans in the stand, because you're at a point now where it feels like the athletic department's worried about how much money they can bring in and what fun stuff they can build on campus to seemingly price out some of the more dedicated fans just to get more money to keep doing upgrades. I mean, it seems like they're putting a lot of time and effort into the other things that go around on game day other than the actual football game.
You can do that as long as you're winning.
Yes.
Like Danny White can come in and ask for the talent fee. He can continue to raise ticket prices. He can continue to upgrade Neyland Stadium and charge extra money for all that, as long as you're winning.
Yep.
But 8-4 is no longer good enough. No. It's not good enough whenever you've won 10 games, 9 games. You've got to continue to improve, and Heupel has not done that the past 3 seasons. And I agree with you. He's got to make wholesale changes across the board to his staff, and part of his staff might be making changes for him. Like, they might get poached by Alex Golesh, Like, my nightmare scenario is Rodney Gardner, our defensive line coach, getting poached by Alex Golesh to go coach at Auburn.
I think he was the first phone call he made.
That is a scary possibility, and a lot of rumors have been going around. I don't know if that's happened yet. I don't know if there's any, if that holds water. But my point was, Heupel is going to make staff changes. Staff changes are going to be made for him. And I think he needs to get another quarterback in. I think I'm good leaving Joey Aguilar behind. I'm good. I'm good with seeing him later and just being like, thank you for this 1 year of service. Let's not fight the NCAA through appeals to get him another year. I'm good with maybe getting another quarterback out of the portal. Maybe continuing to shape and mold George McIntyre and continuing to build on what he has recruited, instead of continuing with the Joey Aguilar experience that has been successful at times. And he led the SEC in pass yardage, but he's also made some bad plays. And at times you see the offense just sputter and spin its wheels, like we saw in the second half of his last game. He only scored 3 points in the second half against Vanderbilt. And it's not like Vanderbilt's defense is a juggernaut. Like, you couldn't run the ball, you couldn't effectively throw the ball, you couldn't get really anything going.
They let Auburn put 38 points on them.
Right, yeah. So it's frustrating to me. I think Heupel needs to face the music. Like, I don't think he needs to just run and hide and say, well, we've got to be better execution-wise, and we've got to do this, that, or the other. Like, no, he needs to come up and say, no, this is unacceptable. We are making changes so we can improve, because he's flatlined, and he's going to continue flatline or go downhill if something doesn't change. Yeah. Rumors are that Penn State called him and wanted him as a head coach. I don't know if that's true. I don't think that's true at all. Maybe it is.
I went through this when James Franklin was rumored to come to Tennessee when he was in Penn State. They have pilot gas stations in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And there have been...
The representative who handles that flies back and forth from the State College airport.
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
So that is not Josh Heupel interviewing.
Yeah.
There's the
Getting on
guy.
an airplane?
If
Okay.
not, there's Tennessee coaches interviewing at Penn State weekly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Which is not
that was the thing. Because
Yeah.
there was a fan. It's like, hey, I don't want to spark any controversy, but there's a plane leaving McGee Tyson Airport heading for State College, and then you look and it's like, yeah, that same plane's been doing this every 2 weeks for the last 8 months or
Yeah.
whatever it was.
They have pilot gas stations all across Pennsylvania. Don't forget.
I don't want Heupel to leave, especially this year. Who again? I was arguing with Auburn. Who's Auburn going to get? Who would Tennessee get at this point?
Probably Butch Jones again.
Gosh, if Heupel
He's
were
got
to
to win
leave,
at Arkansas State.
Yeah.
I want Heupel to stay. He's done a great job of resurrecting a dead program and building something, but it's time for him to take the next step.
Yeah. The only 2 cents that I would give, because I feel like I can go along board with both of what y'all have said. Starting off with what you said, yes, expectations are fluid. They can change throughout the year. And the question going into this year for Tennessee was, all right, how is that quarterback play going to be handled? Because, yes, this was a quick quarterback change. Now you got to get him on board, figure everything out. And then you start the season and you realize, okay, he has a pulse. This could legit work out. Well, now your expectations have now gone from we don't know about this guy to we do know about this guy and we're looking good right now. And then the wheels started falling off, and here we are. So I get both aspects of it. I definitely wouldn't fire Heupel. I know that the fan base is very PO'd with him right now. I get that. But yeah, you're at a crossroads now. You've got to change what you're doing. Something's not working, whether that is Heupel doing play calling or if it's maybe a offensive coordinator or something within something within the coaching ranks. Something needs to change. Yes, Heupel does need to go up and say literally, hey, we've got to make changes. We're going to make changes. Here's what we need to do. And move forward from that. And to go off of that with what Michael said, yes, this is a crossroads, and now you're going to find out what this Tennessee team can do moving forward, because, yes, I do think the ceiling is pretty high. You just need to reach that next layer, and I think Heupel is the guy to do it, but there's something behind the scenes that needs to be changing, and that needs to be changed.
The uncomfortable truth about this is this current version of what Tennessee is. Vanderbilt has surpassed it.
Yep.
It's the truth. It just is what it is. Vandy has continued under Clark Lee to get better and better and better. And the current version of Tennessee is peaked. Last year was the peak of it. Mm-hmm. And if you stay where you are, the best you're going to be is a 10-2 team that gets put out in the first round of the playoffs.
I agree.
And Vanderbilt has surpassed that. Vanderbilt is right on the edge of a playoff berth, guys. And that almost solidified it with some of the, Georgia Tech getting knocked out of the ACC championship game. These other teams or spots. It's not a guarantee that both Big 12 teams get in. I think if BYU beats Texas Tech, that puts two Big 12 teams in. But it's a hairy situation. The way the team's currently constructed, the way the coaching staff is, Vanderbilt is better. Some of these other teams can get better. You cannot stay on this plateau. Yeah. They've got to get better. They got to make some sort of changes.
Yeah,
That's just,
they do. Well, especially going into next year. And success is going to be changed record-wise, I think, next year with a 9-game SEC schedule, because you could potentially see next year the first 3-loss SEC team making into a playoff with as difficult as some of these schedules are. Like Tennessee hosts LSU and Texas and Ole Miss next year. Like, I don't know.
And Alabama.
And Alabama. Like, they play all of those teams next year. So success is going to be defined differently record-wise next year. But is the product on the field going to be the same? Are the same situations going to keep happening? Yeah. Is Heupel still going to have game management issues that he's not trying to delegate to other coaches to help him out? Like, those are what's going to determine, is Heupel is successful in changing and improving. Maybe not necessarily the record, because Tennessee could easily go 8-4 next year and look like a completely different team.
I think what's interesting with these with games this weekend is what happens with Alabama, because right now they're 10-2. They're the last team in the playoff as of today. That could change tomorrow and might a little bit, but if Alabama loses the SEC championship game, let's say 28-14, are they kicked out of the playoff? Right now they're that last team in, and do you value a 2-loss Alabama over a 3-loss or a 3-loss Alabama over a 2-loss Vanderbilt or a 2-loss BYU or a 2-loss Miami? Where do you go from that spot?
That's a conversation that I've been going on in my head for the past literally ever since the Iron Bowl, because finally got the game in and you won. But even before then, it's like, all right, well, what if we win the Iron Bowl? What if we lose to Georgia? And it's a tough thing. I do feel like,
because they dropped the teams that lost the conference championship games, but not enough to like kick them out of the playoff. They drop them 1 or 2 spots, but
you drop them to 11,
they're out.
They're out, especially if now, say, Duke wins the ACC and they are not part of the top 5 highest ranked conference champions. Now you've got an extra group of 5 team that gets in, and so at the end of the day, from the Alabama perspective, you see what's in front of you. You got your goal. You need to go and win, and that secures your spot no matter what. But it does bring up a very, very valid and very intriguing argument, which is, what if you lose to Georgia? And I will say this. I feel like if Bama loses to Georgia and it's like 24-21 or 21-20, something that's like very close,
they'll leave them.
I think I think that you could be left at 10 and they would be able to keep you in. But what if you lose pretty handily? What if Georgia just dominates that game and it's like 35 to like 14 or something? And then you bring up an argument where, all right, that's your 3rd loss. We're going to have to punish you for that loss. Sorry, you're getting bumped out. And I don't know, because that's another thing that I want clarity on. I want the clarity on, what are you going to do if Duke wins the ACC championship? Do they get in or not? What goes on with that? And the other thing is, what happens with conference runner-ups? Because they have said in the past that we will not punish you for playing that extra game. But you know how these things go, which is, all right, well, you lose a game, you drop. How far do you drop? Yes, giving other circumstances, sometimes you might lose a game and other people around you also lose and stuff. You just you came in at number 10, so therefore you're going to stay at number 10. I get there's scenarios where that can happen, but at the end of the day, you lose, so therefore you get bumped down. So I don't know. I will say this. I don't think that there will be hardly any movement within that like 8 to 12 range, because I think everybody pretty much won, if I remember correctly. The thing that I wonder is, going into tomorrow night, what does the committee do? Because if the committee ends up swapping, say, Alabama and Notre Dame to where Notre Dame's now the last one in and Alabama's at 9, I think that is them trying to set the stage for, if Alabama loses the SEC championship game, then they will just get bumped down to 1. And who knows, it might be Notre Dame gets the short end of the stick. I don't know. I've seen before where the committee will start to kind of regroup some of these teams a little bit, like a ranking or two, because they know what could happen. But yeah, because right now you got Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Bama, BYU, and Miami. And I mean, I could see where you could swap Alabama and Notre Dame and have Ole Miss, Oklahoma, and Alabama. But I don't know. I feel like that they're just going to keep that group the way it is.
Yep.
But it's a very interesting argument. And the thing that I will always be the front runner for is, if you're going to have a 12-team playoff, fine. I think we're going to go to a 16. I think 16 is probably that's the perfect scenario in my mind, because what you need to have is auto bids strictly. You don't have to put them as a top 4 seeds, but just an auto bid strictly, like you have the NCAA tournament. You win your conference, you're in. And then you just have the rest of the field that are at-large bids, and you just fill them with however the rankings are. And if you want to keep a group of 5 team in there, fine. If not, I'm not going to bat an eye about it. My thing with a group of 5 is, all right, if you're really good enough, then you'll be ranked high enough to get that at-large bid. Because, I mean, you look at some of these teams where it's like, yeah, you could get, like, just say Boise State, for instance. I mean, they were the best team in the Mountain West. Mountain West was not that good that year. They kind of ran the table, so you aren't really getting good competition. So why would you be rewarded for winning a conference that is just down towards the bottom?
And see, that's why I'm a proponent, like, let's keep this 12-team playoff. Let it be the Power 4 schools, because realistically, There's no, I mean, maybe in a couple of years something weird happens, but there's no way a North Texas, Tulane, or a JMU is going to win the national championship this year. So I think it's kind of dumb and wasting spots of putting them in there, because I think Miami, if they're that 12th team in, they're playing number 5 Texas Tech, they could upset them, and then boom, you're looking at them playing who's number 4 Georgia.
Yeah.
And that next round. I mean, you get little things like that. I don't think there's any chance that let's say Tulane, would upset Texas Tech. And then be playing Georgia. I just don't see that happening.
The thing that, and I wish that if you're going to use this wording, then stand by your wording, which has always been since the beginning of the playoff with the 4 teams and now to the 12 teams, which is you have gone on record, and each year in and year out, you have stated that your purpose is to bring the best 4 teams, the best 12 teams in the country to compete for a playoff. If you're giving these group of 5 teams an auto bid, so to speak, if you're ranked high enough, then you are going against what you're saying is the best 12 teams, because you go and look at the rankings. Well, guess what? That Tulane has now jumped 6 teams that are in front of them just for you to get to that number 12 spot. So if you need to change your rhetoric, which is no, these are no longer the top 12 teams. This is the top 11 teams plus 1. And I just really wish they would just go to, look, you get an auto bid if you win your conference, Power 4, you're in, and then we just fill the field out just like March Madness. I feel like that at least eliminates that politicking that goes on between, all right, well, who's the so-called best 12 teams or not. Just say this is the college football playoff. You have these bids, rest are auto, and there you go.
Yeah, I still think an 8-team playoff would have been perfect. I think
8
12,
or 18?
8. An
okay.
8-team playoff would have been perfect. I don't think there's realistically 12 schools that can win. I don't think there's more than 5 or 6 schools that can win. So
I think you cut the line off at top 5 right
Yeah,
there. Maybe Oregon, but I think it's after Texas Tech.
I would say Indiana, A&M, Georgia, Texas Tech, and Oregon are right there.
Texas Tech's defense is unreal.
Yeah, they're good.
Oregon's getting better. We saw what Ohio State can do.
Yeah.
Man, Taylor, were you a little afraid this past Saturday?
Yeah, because
it's got a little hairy there.
It went exactly kind of how I felt like the game would go. I mean, it's one of those things where you throw Auburn's record out, and anything down there in Jordan-Hare, I mean, is going to be iffy. And I feel like obviously this year the record for Auburn doesn't really speak to how good Auburn technically is. Obviously, they're not great, but they went toe to toe. Georgia was the most points. How would I put it? That was the most points they lost by was Georgia, and it was 10 points. They had been in every single one of these games, and they just ended up faltering towards the end.
This sounds like an Alabama fan trying to talk up an Auburn win. This is what this.
I was about to say, but
okay.
I'm gonna surprise you right here. I was about to say, but but Alabama should have gone in there and absolutely manhandled that Auburn team, and it looked like that they were about to. And then all of a sudden you start realizing, nope, the offensive mishaps are back again. There's a lot of issues that is with this Alabama team, to where I feel like that they are better than what the product has been placed on the field, and they have scraped by week in and week out. And you get to that Oklahoma game, and you just make one of those field goals, and that game's a win. And you're looking here at a 10 and or 11-1, and you're solidly in the playoff no matter what happens to the SEC championship game. There are issues with this Bama team. Yes, it's the Iron Bowl. Yes, you throw out the records. Yes, I'm not shocked that the game went the way it did, but looking at how Alabama should have gone in there and won, that's if they get into the playoff, they're not going too far. They might get bumped out in that first round if they even get past Georgia in the SEC championship game. But who knows? There's just a lot of issues. I agree with you with looking at that top 4. Maybe throw Texas Tech in there. That's probably from the group who's going to end up winning it all. Everybody else is just be happy that you're in, and you're in for one game, and then you're gone.
And you know what? I'm going to kind of say a little bit of the opposite of what Bryant was hinting at there. I think that this Auburn team was given a coaching malpractice. Coaching malpractice was done to them this year. I think if you give them a half competent coaching staff, that team easily goes 8-4.
That's a completely different team.
You look at their losses this year: Oklahoma by 7, A&M by 6, Georgia by 10, Missouri by 6, Kentucky by 7, Vandy by 7, and then Alabama by 7. They are quite literally one drive away in every single one of these games except Georgia from being right there in it with everybody. And I think they have the talent. I just think that their coaching had done such a terrible job for them this year that they were kind of doomed from hiring Hugh Freeze at the beginning of the and going. I just feel like heading into the season with Hugh Freeze kind of set their expectations to 6-6 when realistically they could have been like an 8-4 team.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right, guys. Well, a lot of fun. A lot of passionate talk. None of my teams are in ball games. I don't care. So I do care, actually.
I don't care that Tennessee's in a bowl game. Yeah. I do not care where we go.
It's basketball season now.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about basketball. Tennessee had a great basketball week last week.
They did. But it's going to be a lot of fun coming up here. We'll talk more about that on Thursday when that rolls around. But that will do it for today. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing some keeping them and dump 'em. I've got some surprise Friends trivia.
All right.
There we go.
Friends fans. That's going to be trivia at all.
Yeah.
I found some. It was on the Instagram. It was called Impossible Friends Trivia. I just got to write it down.
Okay.
I've saved it. It's on my save, and I might throw some other ones out there because the best Friends episodes were the Thanksgiving episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I know my wife made me watch them, but I laughed. There was some really. There's something about Joey sticking his head up the turkey's you know what, and just said, "Help me! I can't get it off."
Who is that? It's Joey.
It's Joey. It's way too. Oh, these are my Thanksgiving pants.
These are my maternity pants.
My Everest. Love it. So for Taylor, Bryant, Mike, I'm AJ Good. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.